Hi, today we're working on number 34 from the Pottag Preparatory Melodies to Solo Work book. And we're getting into some interesting things at this point in the book. They're getting a little bit longer now. This one is only 4 lines, but it has a dal segno as well, so it's actually 6. And this is marked a largo assai. So that could be translated as quite slow. Now that's a matter of interpretation. There's no metronome marking here, but it says 4/8, so that gives us a clue. I mean, the 8th note gets a beat, and it's a slow beat. So what I usually do when I'm looking at a piece of music and trying to determine the tempo is as I scan the music, I'm translating that into sound in my mind, and I'm hearing the character of the music. And then when I get to the parts that are busier, where they have shorter note values, I ask myself, what does this feel like largo, for example, when I'm playing 30-second notes, which are in this piece. So, and then I just try it. So I might, so I'm looking for the da di da 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 di da 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 di da 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 di da da di da, something that moves in a way that feels slow, but not dragging. That would be slower tempos, grave. You know, there you're dragging, almost in the grave. So I'm going to play this for you. Stay with me. Exercise your listening muscles. I'll try and do a credible job and see what you can notice from the way I'm playing it, and then we'll focus on a couple of issues. Let's try that again. Being a little too careful. Do that differently. Sorry to interrupt your musical train of thought. I'm making decisions, and I'm making decisions as I go along. So I realized when I got to that spot in the piece, I didn't want to phrase it that way. Again, sorry for the interruption. If you were involved musically, I know it's kind of a shock to the system, but when you're practicing, it's okay. You can interrupt yourself, as long as you're doing so for productive reason. In this case, instead of phrasing, I'm going to phrase da, 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 da. So I'm going to play the last 3 16th notes as a pickup to the next bar. Okay, we all have our own musical tendencies. I tend to be a little too careful. And one of my fine colleagues in the BSO once said, and I remember it, he said, it's very dangerous to be too careful. In other words, do everything you do intentionally. And that's one of the things that makes this piece particularly difficult for a lot of trumpet players. I mean, you know, if you've tried to play it, you already know what I'm talking about. It's delicate, and that can make it feel touchy, and that can make you be careful. So that's a problem all the way through. So it starts with getting comfortable, giving yourself freedom to play where you can make a good sound, where you can, you know, create a sense of line, where you can get some musical satisfaction out of it. And then once you feel balanced and comfortable, then you want to start polishing things and bringing them to a higher level of beauty and quality when you go through it. Now, of course, with every piece, there are a lot of things to work on, but this is an area where most trumpet players don't like to play slow, and most trumpet players don't like to play soft, and most players don't like to play in a low register. Of course, there are exceptions to every rule, but I've shown some of the things that are necessary to do in the orchestra literature to some of my commercial players, friends, and they kind of go, oh, and they shudder at the thought of having to do things that are as delicate as this. And that's why we should practice them. We do plenty of, most of our playing as trumpet players, especially if if we play popular music, is that we're playing loud and we're playing high, and you know, it's all about the energy of the trumpet, and that's great. But that's why I love this book. Can you make the trumpet sing? Can you make it into a musical instrument and not only an instrument of war? These are the questions you want to consider when you're working. And of course, you're going to bring your own musical personality to it. So I want you to notice a couple of things, and these are themes that are going to come back. When I'm doing the dotted rhythms, for example, I'm not just playing them smooth. I'm also not just playing them rhythmically accurately. I actually made a couple of choices in terms of rhythmic interpretation. So I'm not making myself do things strictly, but that's where I'm going to start. So if I have to play the dotted, in this case, dotted 16 32nd notes, so having a very clear, very strict idea of exactly where those notes should go, that's a great starting point. That gives you the precision that you need. But it doesn't really fit the style. And if I concentrating on playing it very rhythmically, I'm going to tend to lose the line. You need to bring those two things together. So listen, when you listen to your recordings of yourself play, am I in the pocket with the rhythm? Then there's rhythmic interpretation. So I'll play it first. So you might think of the rhythm as kind of the bones, you know, the structure of the music. When you look at a person, unless you have Superman's X-ray vision, you don't see the bones. You see the outside, but the bones is the structure for the musculature. And so that's exactly the same way with music. So it's really important to make sure that those bones are beautiful and functional, so they hold everything together. Then you're free to do rhythmic interpretation. And these things, as is the case in this piece, can be very subtle, okay? So now I'm going to flip the 32nd note a little bit, just a little bit. Did you notice the difference? Sometimes a tiny, tiny change can make a big difference in the feeling of the music. And these are the things I want you to, that's why I'm spending so much time working out of this book. It gives you an opportunity without too much physical or skill stress on the system to explore these musical ingredients and really start to refine things. Have fun, experiment for yourself. So right where I stopped, there can be a little confusion, because if you're looking at the book, you have a dotted eighth and 2/16, and that doesn't make any sense. So it's either was supposed to be a dotted eighth and 2/32, which is the way I think I played it, or it was supposed to be, there wasn't supposed to be any dot, and it was just supposed to be eighth and 2/16. So I play it to see which I like better. Okay, let's do it again. And I decided on the 30 seconds because I like the gesture. It gives a little bit of energy when you go back to repeating the first bar that you heard. I don't know what the composer intended, but there it is. That's how I'm making my musical decisions there. There are all kinds of things to make decisions about in this piece. We could go much deeper, but I think that gives you a starting point for enjoyment. And I hope you can get that feeling of pace. Concentrate, as I've said before in many of the episodes, on what you're doing with the sounds of the articulation, and you're making specific musical choices which you have arrived at through trying things and deciding what you like the taste of better, what seems more appropriate to your ear. So it's fun. That's why I decided to play the trumpet rather than becoming a chemical engineer, because trumpet seemed like it would be more fun to me. And I hope it's fun for you too. So please join me again, and I'll see you later on down the road. Have a good day. Bye-bye.